Starting grid for Motovation Supersport Race 2 has Skoltz, Blake Davis, and PJ Jacobsen on the front row.
We're going to have Cam Peterson, Ty Scott, and Josh Hayes there on the second row. Corey Alexander, Kayla Yakov, and Jake Lewis. I think, Jake, you might know something about that, Greg. I don't think he's here. Lamandry, Max Van, and Torrin Collins. Sneed, De Silva, Enriquez, Black, Nassani, and Williams are going to be outside of row 6 there. Magos, De Leon, Monk, Chupkoff, Horney, and Zaragoza. And the last row, Greg, we're going to have Joel Ullman and Jeff Bean. So do you know something a little bit about Jake?
Yeah, you're going to see those lights go red. You're going to hear these revs go pop. Here we go. Away racing we go. The front row look like they got a good launch. But number 1 gets a good shot, but there goes the 22 up the inside, Blake Davis. Track Racing Yamahas, and this is what Davis wants. He wants to try to lead and then hold it tight through turn 2. And look at one of the XBL bikes, that PJ Jacobsen,
yes,
going right up the inside to the lead.
Yep.
So the 15 goes right to the top spot, and he wants to disrupt any ideas that any of these top 3 Yamahas have.
Cam Peterson makes a big move to slot himself in there as well. As you see Josh Hayes in 4th. Basically, the 2 Strack riders went into turn 1 so tight that their momentum pushed them a little wide. PJ took full advantage of that on the 15, and look at him trying to streak away early.
Ray Hall Ducati Moto with an XPEL rider on the Panigale V2 is not messing around. All the experience that PJ has had on the world scene has taught him how to be good on fresh tires right from the get-go, setting the pace, forcing these other riders possibly out of their comfort zone on this first lap. And you can tell from the body English of PJ Jacobsen, he is not messing around today.
A big thing for me with PJ is going to be seeing how early this bike slide. And you see Cam P, he wanted to take a shot. He did take a shot. He's going to get that 4th place position. But another small, tiny mistake for the 45 in a slow corner. Cam will get his head down and try to draw these 3 back in front of him. As you see the field flow through that last corner, Greg, PJ Jacobsen now in a tuck down the front straight. Matthew Skoltz in the draft of Blake Davis.
PJ setting a rapid pace, Jamie.
That's one of the things that I talked to him about before this race started, that they made a lot of changes to that bike. He said yesterday it was just too violent. He wasn't able to let it flow.
Kayla Yakov, Corey Alexander, Josh Hayes, all in that chasing group. But this is going to be a good lap for Matthew Skoltz. Let's see what it is, Greg. It's going to be
Cameron Peterson back there on the 45 in the Celtic Economy Loop, plus Tire Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati, all out of shape on the gas. I can see the rear end of the motorcycle moving around, and that's caused a little bit more of a gap for him.
They made a couple of adjustments, Xavi Ford, as you see there on the right-hand side of your screen, his crew chief. They made those adjustments for the morning warm-up, and they were a little bit better, but not good enough. And Xavi ultimately said to Blake, he said, I can't give you that mental confidence that you're looking for. You're going to have to trust yourself, trust this bike, and for 18 laps, you're going to have to give everything you've got. So for Blake to be able to take that, do something with it, and stay in this lead battle is pretty impressive for that young rider.
As Matthew Skoltz took over the lead into turn number 1, and with Blake Davis now closing in on the back of PJ Jacobsen, he's going to have to rely on his trust in himself, as PJ now is going to go to work on Skoltz to see where his bike and abilities to get this bike into certain spots are going to weigh up against Matthew Skoltz and his Yamaha. 26.5. He's done it 26.1. You can see Blake Davis gets around PJ Jacobsen. So now we have a pair of Strack Racing Yamahas 1-2, and that Ray Hall Ducati Moto with XPEL machine in 3rd place. And these are your top 3 in the championship.
Yeah, now PJ's just got to go to work and see if Blake tries to take any shots at Matthew. And for PJ right now, there's going to have to be some strategy played out. He can sit and watch. We got a lot of laps left in this race. It gives him an opportunity, as Enriquez has gone down, Greg. That's probably down in the turn 1 area. Real easy to run straight there and then tip over in the grass, but just that's a little bit of speculation. Then we got this battle a little further back for 5th place. Ty Scott, Josh Hayes, Kayla Yakov, Corey Alexander are all in this battle. Ty Scott last time tried to draft Josh down this front straightaway. Now Josh is in the draft of Ty Scott. We got a Suzuki leading a Yamaha and a Ducati and a pair of Ducatis in this little fight.
And in coming across the line was Blake Davis, who took over the lead. So Blake Davis, when they came across the stripe on the back of a 26.2, ends up taking over the lead from Skoltz. So now Blake Davis has his shot up front. Skoltz going right up the inside. As he said, he wants to lead this race. And now PJ looking for some real estate as well. fastest rider on the racetrack. That last lap was the 45 of Cameron Peterson. He goes 126.3 to a 126.6 by Schultz and 126.9 by Davis and Jacobson. So Cameron Peterson on that last lap has gotten another couple tenths after it. Blake Davis is now, they fan out slightly, and it's got to be 126.4, 126.5. PJ Jacobson, a 126.5, his fastest lap of the race, to get close enough to Blake Davis to throw a shot at him. Although PJ Jacobson once again goes fastest lap of the race for himself, a 126.436. But race winner many times over. Stock-thousand before. No, it's Cameron Peterson. On that Celtic Economy Lube and Tire Warhorse HSBK Ducati down.
It's turn 4, I believe, Greg, and it's, again, you get in there, if you make a small mistake, get on that grass, whatever it is, and Cam P's made a small mistake there in turn 4.
And creating a race bike out of it with the rules package. Now the number 19, Kayla Yakov, gets around Josh Hayes. When they came by the stripe, Hayes was in 4th place. Now he's shuffled back to 5th place.
This has been a great battle to watch.
5th place position on the BPR Racing Yamaha, although Hayes trying to go up the inside on Yakov. He's got some drive, a little bit of wheel spin. He's got position, or does Kayla. So Hayes, yeah, he sweeps around the outside. And then the Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki of Ty Scott watching this unfold.
Like Kayla and things right now, she's getting a chance to race with a guy who's won 4 Superbike championships and dominated our series for so many years. He's ridden in so many different classes, obviously tied for the most wins with Cam Beaubier. I mean, it's an experience for her and Ty Scott.
It's great to see Josh Hayes in these battles, and you consider the fact you mentioned 2 different stages of their lives. Josh Hayes won his first 2 races here at VIR the same year that Kayla Yakov was born, so they're at very different stages of their career.
But I'd always rather be the person that's leading into traffic, because I can kind of dictate what I want to do, how I want to do it. And these guys have so much experience, and they're going to make definitive passes. It's going to be one of those things where when they see slower traffic coming up, they're already starting to make a plan in their mind, what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, where they're going to go past. This is the closest we've seen PJ to Blake right now, as he's literally right on the back of the 22. So he's definitely getting closer, and it makes me think that maybe he wants to be the guy leading when they do get to those back markers. He's going to have a good run here, Greg, as he goes to the outside of Blake Davis, coming across start-finish line. Let's see if the 15 can get this pass done before they get down here.
Now for Blake Davis, he has position on the inside, and that's what you really saw, was 2 riders breaking the same, but Blake Davis had position. But I do have to say, looking at PJ's bike, Jamie talked about at the top of the show about PJ and the Ray Hall Ducati Moto Expel team wanting to get this motorcycle less violent. And at this late stage, as PJ now makes a bid for 2nd place, nice pass under braking, but his bike looks so much better than it did yesterday.
It really does.
Especially with this many laps to go. Who is now with a 5-second gap over PJ Jacobson and Blake Davis, as Davis once again with position up the inside. Is he able to get it slowed down? The door's not going to open up for PJ, or is it? Yeah. So Blake Davis was in there just a little hot. There's no on-bike communication with the team and the rider. It's just that information as Blake Davis goes by PJ Jacobson, and that time Blake Davis will be credited with lap lead, but he gives up position up the inside on PJ. Ooh, and PJ, like he lost the front for a second.
He did a great job. He really wanted to get that bike slowed down to stop. He had track position, Greg.
So as we come to the line, final lap. So Matthew Schultz already crossed the line at a 27.1, white flag out. PJ was able to get by Davis on that lap. And so if that was the last lap, it would be PJ who would finish 2nd, but lap traffic up ahead.
The best thing PJ did there, I watched out my window, is right after he went through the kink here, he kept his bike over to the right. He was going to make Blake go down the outside of him, which is what he did. Now he's going to get to this lap traffic maybe before Blake can get past him. You see there in the distance, he was able to get through on some lap traffic. As you saw our leader Matthew Schultz go through, and look at the small gap that has already started to appear. PJ has to be absolutely clean. That's Cam Peterson just kind of moving out of the way. Matthew Schultz goes through. Here comes PJ now.
So down under the bridge they go, up the hill, the right-hander. This is where PJ's been sending it a little sideways. He does it one more time. Another bunch of Dunlop rubber on the racetrack, but PJ is on it now. He doesn't want to give up position to Blake Davis. He wants that 20 points, and he wants to minimize the damage being done by his championship rival out front, the number 1 of Matthew Schultz. Now down the hill they go. Blake Davis just needs a little bit more in terms of being closer to the track, but look how good PJ is down the hill.
Yeah, but this is where Blake's really good. The change of direction on that R9 for Blake works really well as Matthew gets up and onto the front straightaway.
He looks over his shoulder and sees nothing, and the number 1 goes in the air, and to the stripe comes the Track Racing Yamaha R9 rider. Matthew Skoltz will win the race, and it's going to be PJ Jacobsen who takes it. Blake Davis riding so hard to try to prevent that. Fastest Sector 3 doesn't get it done in 3rd place.
Ty Scott has got himself to the front of this group, this battle for 4th. As Kayla was leading last time through, now Kayla runs the risk of getting drafted by Josh Hayes, but it's going to be Ty Scott with a big move there on the last lap to get himself in 4th. Looks like Kayla might hold off Josh. She does for top 5 Hayes, and then Corey Alexander.
Back celebrations for Matthew Skoltz and his team. What a race. Masterful racecraft. It didn't get handed to him by any stretch of the imagination, but that's not Matthew's concern right now. It's all about celebrating on the podium. We'll have more when we come back. So eventually that ended up being a 3.3 second margin of victory after Skoltz enjoyed his final lap, and Blake Davis there just a 1/10 of a second behind, and then this crazy battle between Scott Yakov, Hayes, Alexander. As we head off to Mid-Ohio for Motovation Supersport in about a week and a half, 2 weeks time, it's 7 points between the top 2. Blake Davis with 56 points, Ty Scott and Cameron Peterson